Unless you're a Pixel fan living under a rock somewhere, you know that yesterday we got the announcement of the Pixel 6a. Certainly, the timing of a bunch of those announcements was a little odd. We'll talk about that later. The Pixel 6a releasing in July, late July. But we got a few things that I wanted to talk about that were interesting that I was personally curious about with the Pixel 6a. First being the price, $449. I'm relieved they didn't come in at $499 because I personally thought that would have been a non-starter. Little disappointed that they didn't come in at $399. I understand $449 is probably where the proper price of this device will eventually land at. I get it. But at $399, they could have absolutely been a category crusher. And I'm a little disappointed it didn't come in at that. But I get $449, especially for what they're going to be providing. The second big question that I had was how were they going to get to that price? What were they going to take away from a Pixel 6 that's at $599 already? What was going to be taken away from that to get you to that lower cost? And I was worried that it was going to be something goofy, because it is Google, so of course goofy tends to be the order of the day a lot of times when it comes to hardware choices, but they didn't do that. I think they cut corners in the right areas to get you to that price point. And I think it's going to be a competitive offering, especially when Samsung left the door open with the A53 5G and they're offering at $450. I'm waiting for a software update with that device. I'm trying to hope that maybe a software update will fix some of the problems with that device, but that thing is a lag monster. I am going to be absolutely light that device up when I finally do the full review of the Galaxy A53 5G. So Samsung, much like the Google Pixel 6, with its problems on launch, left the door open for the S22 series of devices to give you that smooth Android experience at the flagship level. Now Samsung has left the door open at the mid-range level for the Pixel 6a. Whether they take that advantage, whether they capitalize on that, will be up to them, and we'll see when we get the device in hand later in July. But I'm telling you right now, the door is open. If your budget is $450, personally, I would wait to see what the Pixel 6a provides before you make that decision, because the A53 5G is just that bad. I promise you. So let's talk about what they took away. Plastic back, or not real, composite back. They usually do a good job on materials. Aluminum frame, which I like. 90 hertz comes off the screen. Don't care. I know a lot of Samsung people on Twitter immediately jump down their throat for that. Basically saying, well, the A53 5G has 120 frames. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm not buying a television. If you don't match the beautiful display at 120 hertz with performance, what difference does it make? It's a phone. So if Google can provide a decent, good Android experience running Android 12 at 60 hertz at 1080p and a decent OLED, I'll take that over something running 120 hertz that barely runs. Or it doesn't run well. All right, it runs okay. We'll get to that, but it's not a good device from my point of view for that money. So I'll take that. 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, which seems to be right down the middle of the runway when it comes to $450. So I really don't have any problems there. The camera, still giving you an ultra wide. I thought they maybe would have went to one sensor, one lens on the 6a. They still gave you the 2. Which I thought was interesting. And so what? They're using the OLED, mostly computational photography anyway, and everybody loved that sensor for having been 100 years. Real numbers. They've been using that. All the way back, the 5, I think was the last year that they used that 12.2 megapixel sensor, and the pictures came out on that just fine. So when you put the Google Tensor chip to it, you put the computational photography to it, should be okay. On paper, I have zero problem with what they did. That's the second year in a row, though. I have zero problem with what they did on paper with the Pixel 6. We saw what happened there. Software, a little bit of fumbling, not the greatest on release. We'll see what happens with the 6A. So far, so good. I like what I hear. We'll see if they deliver on the software end, because that's going to be, of course, the most important part. Little goofy on the timing, though. Got to admit, 2.5 months still before we even see the Pixel 6A. And if you're in a market for a Pixel device, I have no idea why you wouldn't hold off at this point. See what it provides. If it provides comparable performance to the Pixel 6 at $599, there's no reason why you wouldn't save yourself the $150 if you're not worried about the glass back. Yeah, okay, so it's not Gorilla Glass Victus on the 6A. It's going to be Gorilla Glass 3 or something like that. But the actual guts of the device should provide you savings and decent performance on par with a Pixel 6. So if you have the opportunity to save that, it's at least waiting. Unless the device you have is completely falling apart, wait the 10 weeks. See what the 6A provides you, and perhaps save yourself that $150. The other thing that I thought was odd was them announcing, or at least teasing, the Pixel 7. Because even more so, if you're in the market for a Pixel 6 or a flagship level device, 600 and up, you know you're getting second generation tensor. You know you're getting a neat kind of sleek design, which I think. I like the design of all of them. I like the design on the 6A. I think a smaller display is going to be good. People like things that are nice in the hand. It might be the best Android experience at that size. Nice display, 6.1 inches, probably going to feel good. I think that's certainly something that you should look at and wait for. But if you're in the market for, like I said, that flagship level experience, why wouldn't you then wait to see what the 7 has? It's kind of weird. I think they're eating into their sales 6 months ahead of time for people looking at Pixel devices. So if you're looking for a 6, I would say hold on. See what the 6A gets you. If you're in the market for a flagship, unless you, like I said, you got something that's falling apart, just can't run, and you can't wait for the 7. See what that gets you as well, especially if they keep similar price points. The 7 looks pretty good as well. 6A, nailed it on paper. Think the price is fair. We'll see when it's actually released what we got. I like the colors too. I got my Sword of Sage going today with my green pistachio shirt to match that. So we'll see. Well, we're probably going to get the green one. We'll probably get the green one to check out. But they cut corners in the right spots. Wouldn't worry too much about that. Now we'll see how they deliver on the software experience, which is weird that that's what we're worried about, the software experience. Because I think Google, and we've said this before in videos, I think Google has an inherent advantage in the mid-tier space, right? 500 and below. Because that's where the Pixel experience stuff really adds value. That's where they're going to beat somebody with just a generic release of Android on a $450 device. They can really come in with the Now Playing and the live translation, all the stuff that they provide with the Pixel experience, and really add that value that at $449 you don't get elsewhere. You're certainly not getting on the Moto offerings at $449, $499 now with the G Stylus 5G for 2022. So, should be interesting. We'll take a look. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steelicious day.